So happy New Year, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. Hope you, family, and colleagues are well. It would have been great to meet in person, have a handshake, have a drink at UConn or some local headquarters that we have in the past. But glad we're all able to come together, and thank you to Tableau for helping to facilitate this. Alyssa Jensen is on. Thank you also to Maria, who has co-led this with me for the last 2 years. And then we've brought in some new folks from Slalom, Kathy, Holly, Mohnish, Sakin, for organizing and prepping the slides. So going forward, you'll get a good breadth of people who can help guide our experience, and then also should someone have an issue come up, they can't join last minute, we have a few different people who can take up the slack. So we're hoping to get closer to that goal of quarterly meetings, and I think we can definitely do that with the new blood, as they say, from Slalom. Thank you also to our speakers, Adiascar from Tableau and Steve from Charter Communications. I'll let everyone introduce themselves later on. So we're gonna, so even though Slalom is here, it's the same great content, great guest speakers and networking, new ideas, bigger network, access to more guests. So we're really glad for them joining and appreciate their work to move forward. Before I turn things over to them, so I see we have 22 people on the call. Like I said, 55 registered. There are 42 people in the LinkedIn group. So please, if you haven't already joined, there is a URL that'll come up on one of the next slides and on the last slide, and I put it in the chat window. And if you got the invite as a forward from a contact, just join the user group list, which is hosted by Tableau Splash Service. Thank you for forwarding the slides. I think I skipped through the agenda, but basically we'll have the introduction, we'll have an overview from Slalom, we will have discussion from recap of Tableau TC20, the conference, and the product roadmap, the data management add-on, Tableau experience, use cases and problem statements, future events and marketing information. And I think the Tableau experience, use cases and problem statements, I believe, is going to be Steve from Charter. And we'll talk about future events, and we'll have Q&A. Please stick around for the Q&A because you can help all of us win the very personable Francois Agenstat, Tableau's Chief Product Officer, I think is the official title. He will come join our next meeting if enough of us get the quiz, finish the quiz or the form that's going to be there. So please stick around for that towards the end, or look for the link in case you do have to be called away. User group list. Right, yeah, the user group list is important. Here, everyone's going to introduce themselves in a second. I will introduce myself. I guess I'm listed first on the slide, and then Maria will go. Networking front, if anyone's looking for a new role, feel free to connect to me on LinkedIn. There are some Tableau-related roles at various firms that have reached out to me, in the new year. Just figured I would share those around. So with that, I'm the guy at the top left there, Adam Ware. I've been using Tableau for 10 years since version 5. Really enjoy using it for a free-form data exploration tool, as well as dashboards, visualizations, and I've worked in corporate roles for many years, and for the last 5 years, I left Gartner 5 years ago, started my own firm, Analytic Aware. I help companies, big and small, nonprofit, startups, everyone in between, better understand their customers through the power of data and Tableau, data analysis, data strategy, visualization, interactive visualization especially, and excited to continue with the Tableau experience with the user groups. And if anyone has any questions, I always offer, especially to people who take the time out of their day to join Tableau user groups, happy to answer technical questions. Take 20, 30 minutes out of my day to field any questions technical, or if you just need a second opinion on a visual, I'd be happy to go over that with you. So that's a standing offer for anyone. And my LinkedIn, you should be able to look me up, but it's LinkedIn/in/aware1. So Maria, if you can introduce yourself as well.
Sure. Hi, I'm Maria Wofford. As Adam said, I co-host the Tableau user groups here. I've been in data and analytics for about 8 years, using Tableau for about 6 years. I'm primarily in the retail and financial space. I've been doing data science and analytics for the past couple of projects that I've been working on. You could reach out to me too if you have any questions. on anything as well, you can find me on LinkedIn on Analytics to Go. I'm happy to help for anything in business intelligence, data warehousing, data science, IT project management. So thank you for coming, and welcome, everyone.
My name is Adiascar Cisneros, and I've been with Tableau for 2.5 years. I'm based in Seattle. Before I joined Tableau, I was at AWS. I'm a solutions engineer, and I belong to the partner organization business unit. I help partners like Slalom to develop their skills and conceive and bring to market solutions, joint solutions with different Tableau partners. I'm happy to be here. I'm looking forward to spending time with you today.
Steve, do you want to go next, please?
Sure. So my name is Steve DeMann. I work with Charter Communications. I manage an incentive compensation department, and we've partnered with Slalom to build out a lot of dashboards that were previously manual PowerPoints and Excel files. So we're pretty new into our implementation of Tableau in our department. Charter is a huge company, and there are several departments within Charter that are well into their use of Tableau. So we're playing a little catch up, but we do utilize a Tableau server. We have several Tableau desktop licenses, so we're ramping up pretty quickly. And I've used Tableau at previous companies, so with Siemens Healthcare, which is now Siemens Healthineers. We established Tableau there. And then in a prior company called Wolters Kluwer in New York, we established Tableau as our primary reporting tool. And it worked fantastic. Absolutely loved it. So I'm excited to see how we can continue to evolve at Charter using Tableau.
Thanks, Steve. Ollie, do you want to go next?
Mohnish, sorry. So I'm Holly Harlow. I'm with Slalom, and I help support our marketing and events. I've been with Slalom for about 8 years now.
Thank you. Kathy?
Hello, everyone. I'm Cassie Shi from Slalom West Coast DNA team. I graduated from UConn last May and joined Slalom last July, and right now currently working under Mohnish as a advanced analytics consultant and using Tableau every day since I joined Slalom. And actually my first Tableau experience was with John Wilson, which is my professor at the Tableau course, and he's on the call. Nice to see you again.
Awesome.
Nice to see
you.
Good
evening. Hi, everyone. My name is Mohnish Swaroop. I'm a senior principal from Slalom Consulting Company. I've worked on a variety of clients solving their data and analytics needs and also problems. And I've been using Tableau for about, I would say, 6 to 7 years now. And I'm extremely happy to join this Tableau user group community that gives me a chance to know and talk to a lot of like-minded people. Yeah, I'm very excited to be here. All right. So before we get started with the actual agenda, we have 3 main topics to cover. And before we do that, I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes giving you all a quick background of what we do as a company and who we really are. So we are a modern consulting firm. We were founded nearly 20 years back in Seattle. And since then, we have grown substantially. And now we have about, I would say, 8,000 employees across 32 different offices and across 4 different countries, including, of course, the United States and Canada and Australia and also the United Kingdom. And We have recently opened an office in Westchester area as well. So would love to connect with all of you. So yeah, and in terms of our main focus, what we do, so our main focus has always been on delivering strategy, technology, and also business transformations. And when we talk about strategy, we look to redefine what exactly is possible and also go beyond what is expected. When we talk about providing technology solutions, we analyze, we architect and co-create the digital experiences and also the analytics platform. Coming to the transformations, the third bucket, we do all of the business transformations while working alongside our customers and partnering very closely with the technology leaders such as Tableau. So yeah, that's what we do. Feel free to connect with any one of us offline or via LinkedIn. So with that background, I would like to spend next few minutes to do a quick recap of Tableau Conference 2020. So I'm thinking that many of you may have attended at least a few of the sessions that Tableau hosted during a 3-day virtual conference that was conducted last year in October. And I think in last several years, this was the first time it was hosted as a virtual conference. And all of us know what was the reason behind that. However, I must say that the outcome of these sessions was as good as any of the previous conferences that I was able to attend in person. There were a lot of amazing keynotes, fireside chats, virtual booths, and one of my favorite competition, the Iron Viz competition. So I think overall, there were just a lot of things to learn from these sessions. And what I'm going to do here is share with you 5 to 6 key features that were announced during the conference. Some of these might already be a part of the current release, which is 2020.4, and some of the other ones are on Tableau's roadmap for this year. So some you may have already seen or played around with, but some of the other ones are definitely getting added in 2021. Okay. So I'll start with the first one. That's around Tableau CRM. So earlier Tableau CRM was known as Einstein Analytics, but now it has been merged with Tableau and it has been given a new name, Tableau CRM. It continues to bring the powerful AI and ML capabilities of Einstein discoveries directly in Tableau. And how Tableau is looking to do that is by enabling 3 different types of data access capabilities around it. So the first one is that you can query the Einstein Analytics data set directly from Tableau. So Tableau will be able to query the data that you have stored in your Einstein Analytics environment, and that opens up some of the deep exploration capabilities of running the Tableau queries using CRM data. So that's one method. The second method that we have here is about using Einstein Analytics and writing to Tableau. So when we use Einstein Analytics, we will be able to write directly to Tableau, and we can create the Tableau data extracts, which will be containing Salesforce data. So that's number 2. Number 3 is using Tableau Prep. So Adiascar will be walking us through and giving more details on Tableau Prep, but we can use Tableau Prep also to write to Einstein Analytics. And so Tableau Prep will allow you to write to both Tableau as well as Einstein Analytics. So basically, it's all up to us to choose the right platform depending upon our needs. So that's a cool thing that Tableau has recently added. There are some more enhancements that are being done on the geospatial side. So it's included already in 2020.4 release. And when we create a geomap earlier, we were using one specific mark layer, but now Tableau is allowing us to also use multiple mark layers, which will be supported for unlimited number of marks layers. The other thing that Tableau is adding, or Tableau has already added in 2020.4, is including some of the Redshift spatial support as well. So many of us may have interacted with the Redshift database, and Redshift database has its own functionalities or some specific functions built around providing geo functions. So Tableau will be supporting all that as well. And then along with that, Tableau will also be providing the offline map support within Tableau server. So that's another key things that has been added in 2020.4 release. Moving on, there are few things that Tableau has included in 2020.4 version around predictive analytics. So one key thing that they have added is around the date access extension. So whenever we use Tableau to create predictive analytics, oftentimes we run into situations when we have to extend the date range. So what Tableau has done is they have enabled that by just going to the date dimension that you can see on this visual here. And then when you right click on that dimension, it now allows you to pick and choose the future values. So if you wanted to pick 16 additional months or maybe 5 additional years, you can just right click on the date dimension and the pop-up window will allow you to pick a different future date extension from there. So that I think is pretty cool feature. Whenever we deal with predictive analytics, we run into this use case. Next up, that we have seen Tableau adding on the predictive analytics front is the functions improvement. So when we write any functions using predictive analytics in Tableau, earlier it was defaulted to one specific regression model, which was linear regression model. But what Tableau is looking to do in 2020.4 is it will allow us to not just be limited to one specific type of regression model, which is linear, but also choose a different types of regression model, such as the regularized linear regression model or the Gaussian process regression model. So all we need to do is we need to go to that specific predictive analytics function, and then in the function itself, we can define what kind of model we want to use as the first argument in your function. So you can say model equals to linear for the linear regression model, or you can say model equals to RL, which stands for regularized linear regression model, or you can also go to the Gaussian process by saying model equals to GP. And once you do that, then it chooses that specific model and it uses all the features for that specific statistical model there. Moving on to the next thing that Tableau is looking to add in 2021. So the LOD calculation that I think most of us are quite familiar with, and we all know how powerful these LOD functions are. So what Tableau is looking to do is Tableau is going to make it even more easier for us to create LOD calculation. So earlier, how we were writing LOD calculations is understanding the dimensions that we need, the measures that we need, and then try to create a separate calculated field and then define the syntax for LOD calculation there. So how Tableau is making it easier for us is by creating a separate function of LOD calculation. So you can go and choose a specific dimension or a specific measure from the available data source that you have. And then you can just choose both the fields and right click on that. And then that will allow you to open or create a new LOD calculation. So Tableau has its own intelligence to understand that this is the type of LOD calculation that you're looking to do. And then it will give you a default LOD calculation all done by default, right? And obviously you can customize that depending upon your needs. So if you didn't want to, let's say, use a sum as the aggregation method, then on that calculation window, you can change it from being a sum to being something else, let's say average or median or maximum or minimum, anything that you want. So that I think again is a very powerful thing that Tableau is looking to add, and that's on their product roadmap for 2021. The next thing that Tableau is looking to add in 2021 is adding more features to Ask Data. So as all of us might know already, that Ask Data is a very powerful function that we have available on the Tableau server and Tableau online version, where we just go to a specific data source and that Ask Data section or menu. And depending upon what kind of visualizations or analytics we are looking for, we can just type that in on that window, and then Tableau will automatically produce the output or the results in the form of a visualization there. So that is a really powerful feature that we already had in Ask Data. But what Tableau is looking to do is adding some more additional features in there. So the three new features that Tableau is looking to add in 2021 is one is the range of dates. So earlier we were not able to choose a specific date range, but now once Ask Data is modified in 2021, you will be able to select a range of date as well from Ask Data section. So you can define that you want to run your visualization from so-and-so date, this is the from date and this is the to date, then you can define the range of dates there. And then Tableau will automatically understand that filter, that range of dates as a filter, and then it will produce the output for you. So that's one thing. The second thing that Tableau is adding on the Ask Data feature is stacked bar chart. So earlier, we didn't have stacked bar chart as a visualization option when we were dealing with Ask Data feature. But because of really high demand of people adding this on the Tableau idea section as well, Tableau has decided to add stacked bar chart also as part of one of the available options in Ask Data component. And the third thing that Tableau is adding on this section or on this feature is admin views of site level usage. So whenever we want to usually understand the site level usage, we have some default admin reports that we go and look at, or we may have created some custom reports. But with this new addition, you would be able to go to Ask Data and then write this specific type of admin views that you want to see. And then Tableau will automatically show you the report or the view of the site level usage right there and then. So these are the three really cool features that are getting added in the Ask Data feature that will be coming in 2021, like this year itself. So I wanted to give you all a quick recap of these 5 to 6 key features. Next up, I would hand it over to Adiascar, who is our special guest for this event. And Adiascar will walk us through some of the key data management add-ons that we have and what are their capabilities. Adiascar?
Thanks, Mohnish. All right, give me 1 second. Here we go. All right, I hope everybody can see my screen.
Yep.
All right, very good. I'd like to start with proposing a personal preference of mine regarding data management. So when you see Tableau referring to data management as an add-on, what I would like to invite you to think is that it's actually part of Tableau server, but for the enterprise context. Because it's in the enterprise environment where you see the need to address certain challenges that come with analytics at scale. So my point will become clear as we dive into data management today. But for the moment, just remember to think that data management is part of server for enterprise. It just happens to be quoted and sold and installed separately. Let's take a look at the original problem data management solves. We see data grow at a faster and faster rate. With this volume, we're seeing more complex environments because data is coming from every direction in various formats and various modes. This complexity can make it really hard to effectively use the information that's in there, creating a challenge for IT as they try to control and govern all this new data. All the while, we have more users asking for more access and even more data. And in the cases users are empowered to go and access the data, they're having difficulty finding the right data for their analysis. We see a lot of point solutions in the market. Independently, they're useful, but they don't solve the complete user job. So this is our vision for data management. Rather than having a bunch of point solutions like we see in the market, we have combined everything into one tool. We also design for self-service analytics, and it is one of our big differentiators. The most frequent question we get around data management, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have it already in the Q&A section, is how does data management compare to other vendors' tools like Collibra or Alteryx? Well, first of all, it's important to mention Tableau has a great partner relationship with both Collibra and Alteryx, as well as many other vendors in the space. The simple answer to the question of how data management compares to those other tools is that data management features are designed to empower Tableau users, like analysts and business users, to self-service their data needs inside the Tableau ecosystem. For example, after the data has been prepared and cataloged at the enterprise level and made available as a Tableau data source, there may be specific operations Tableau users need that require additional transformation for the analysis they're conducting. And always, users need to know they're using the correct data set for their analysis. Both of those examples are covered by data management. I'll be happy to expand on this maybe at a later meeting if we need to, but for now, let's keep in mind that data management scope is the Tableau environment, and it complements other tools like Collibra and Alteryx that operate at the wider enterprise scope. So let's take a step back and look at where data management sits in the overall analytics value chain. This is a generic analytics value chain on the slide, but I put some Tableau products in there to show how they map. It starts with collecting, connecting, and cleaning data. We do that with Tableau Prep Builder. Next, we analyze the data with the visual analytics platform, Tableau Desktop or Server's web interface. Then we collaborate and share our insights with Tableau Server. The final piece is Tableau Data Management, where we develop the much needed trust through management and governance of the data. To scale a self-service environment where more people are accessing data, which is our vision, we understand the importance of end users sharing some of that traditional data management responsibilities with administrators. And that becomes possible with Tableau Data Management. So hopefully we understand the need for data management at this point, and we also understand where it sits in the overall data value chain and why it's important that it's self-service. Let's talk about what data management is made of. We at Tableau heard from our customers that prepping their data often took more time than analyzing it. And think about that for a second. We've seen many customers generating mass amounts of data at record speed, but not being able to make sense of it, making their data effectively useless. So in Tableau 2018.1, we introduced Prep Builder, which allows more people to quickly combine, shape, and clean their data in a simple, visual, and direct experience. For our customers, prepping data, like doing analysis, needs to scale, which is why with 2019.1, we introduced Tableau Prep Conductor. Prep Conductor makes it possible to automate and schedule your flows from Tableau Prep Builder in a scalable, reliable, and secure environment. With the central data prep process, you know who's creating flows, when they're running, and if they've completed, increasing trust in the data. You can feel confident the data is fresh and ready for analysis. So if I had to simplify this message, it comes down to two concepts. Tableau Prep Builder helps analysts and business users get data ready for analysis. And Builder is included in the creator license. Tableau Prep Conductor lets users schedule and run prep flows in a scalable, reliable, and secure environment. And Conductor is included in the data management license. There are other challenges related to data our customers are dealing with. Increasing volume and importance, complexity, more users need more data in more places. Users need to be able to find the data they need and know that it's the correct data. So ultimately, there's a lack of trust. What customers really want is to deliver self-service analytics with governance, empowering people while having control and visibility into the data fabric. And that's where Tableau Catalog comes in. It helps organizations better manage their analytics with a complete view of the data in their environment. Catalog helps you easily see the relationships between the data and the analytics it provides, with a visual representation of the lineage of all Tableau content, from workbooks to data sources and flows to the tables and databases that feed them. It also helps data stewards get visibility into their data environments while accelerating the discovery of the right data for decision making. So here's the big question. How does this all work together? So let's start with Tableau Prep Builder, which is part of the creator license, as I mentioned before, not data management. It's included in the flow because of the way it complements the data management components. Prep Builder allows more people to move fast, combining, shaping, and cleaning their data in a simple, visual, and direct way. Prep Builder connects into Prep Conductor to drive scale. Prep Conductor makes it possible to automate and schedule flows from Tableau Prep Builder in a scalable, reliable, and secure environment. And then Catalog ties in to provide the visibility and lineage information customers need to understand how data is being used and how they can manage the environments effectively. So right now, just take a moment to think if you would benefit from data management. You may be a new Tableau user who wants to propose data management from the start as part of self-service vision, or maybe an existing customer that could benefit from more self-service capabilities for your users. And with that question in mind, let's take a look at data management. We're going to start with Prep Builder. Hopefully, most of us have seen Prep Builder before, so I won't spend too much time on it. But essentially, you have a flow where you define certain data sources, and then you can define changes and operations done to that data, including doing unions or pivots to them. And ultimately, what you want is to produce a certain output. In this particular flow, we have 3 outputs defined. Now, for the convenience of this presentation, I have already logged into my server in Tableau Online. And I've run this flow where these outputs create a data source on my Tableau Online environment. So once you create this Prep Builder flow and define your outputs and run it and run your outputs to your online Tableau Online site, then you can switch to your Tableau Online, which again, I've done the login process and all. This is the home page. Hopefully everybody's familiar with Tableau Online. When this is the page that you land in. Now, in order to look at that particular flow that I exported, I'm going to go into my project. As you can see, I have my flow here. So I'll open it to go through a few pieces. The first convenient and most obvious detail is that it server shows you an image of what your flow looks like for your reference. Now, you can't really edit this. This is done back in Prep Builder as we saw, but it's a very visual reference of which flow you're working with. Then you have your outputs, And you have several sections here. And I'm going to quickly go over as far as connections. You can see the initial files that my flow reads from, and then the outputs that it generates. You can schedule, and this is the power of Prep Conductor, where you can schedule your flow to run at certain times. For your convenience, there are certain schedules already created. You can just select with a simple click, or you can go into more detail selecting specific outputs and also the type of refresh that you want, whether you want it build from scratch every time, or if you want it incremental just with the differences. Then you have the run history here on this tab. And finally, the lineage, which is really uh, um, your catalog section here. So that's Prep Conductor. It's very integrated. There's no, you don't see a separate section for Prep Conductor. It's all integrated in Server's UI. So Prep Conductor again is the section of Server that allows you to schedule, excuse me, those flows that you defined on Prep Builder. And then we just happen to have here a section of catalog. But let's start with from another point when it comes to catalog. So I'm going to go back to my project, and then here's my 3 outputs that I defined on my flow. I'm gonna take this one output, and I'm gonna point a few things out. First of all, when you open it, you're immediately into Ask Data, allowing you to explore it as Mohnish was showing. You can do simple things like just selecting a particular statement and just getting the result. And then you can tweak it if you want. But we're not looking at Ask Data for now. Just wanted to make sure that if you haven't seen Ask Data, you at least see it in action. And I'm gonna call your attention to a couple of things in a second as far as this warnings here. But I'm gonna run through the tabs. You see the connections that are associated with this data source, as well as the workbooks that use this data source. In this case, it's just one, but you would have a list of all the workbooks that anybody has created, any of the users have created based on this data source, which as the data source owners is very important information. And finally, the lineage, which is really where we see a catalog in display. So we're going to go over this lineage, but before I do that, I want to call your attention to a couple of pieces of information here in the top. Number one, if you've noticed that green icon, that means that this data source has been certified. That is something that the data source owner defines. So as a data source owner, I can determine whether this is the data source that everybody should be using and they can trust it. So it's a matter of me checking this box, and also I can put notes as far as explaining what kind of data this is or whatever information I deem pertinent to the users. So that's number one, the certified status on the data source. And the other one is this data warning, which is also defined by me as a data source administrator. You can see that we have a warning here set by me, and then some description. And then upstream, we have another warning on the flow, which I also defined. So it's showing me not only the warnings that pertain to this particular item that I'm looking at, but also upstream. If you look at this output is created by this flow, and that flow has a warning. So it's showing it as upstream here. And those warnings are defined here also by very conveniently by the data source owner. Just go into this and then define my type of warning. I just, for the sake of this, I'm going to change it, even though the text its own warning state. I'm just going to say, I'm going to call it sensitive data, and I'm going to save it. And now when I see my data quality warning, you see that the type changed to sensitive data instead of warning state. All right, so that's one way for you to communicate the status of your data in your data source to your users. Then we can go to, for example, databases here and look at this extract. These are the origin files, and this is the extract file that is created as a result of my flow. It has one table. I'm gonna continue clicking, and then here I have all my fields. I've added a description to this field called field A, and I want you to remember that because we'll see it later on. So just keep in mind that field A has that description that I created as a data source owner. Just going to conveniently go back.
Hey, Adiascar, I think we have one
Yes.
question. Kuldeep, you had a question?
Yes.
To ask? Yeah,
Oh, thank you for looking at that, Mohnish.
Sure.
I was waiting whether I should ask it at the end or not. This is regarding the data quality warnings, Adiascar. Is it possible to set these up as automated warnings as well? Like, which could be something which would be very useful. Like, for example, if a data is supposed to be refreshed every X days or X hours, and it skips 1 or 2, is that something that's built in at this point?
Yes, there is an API that allows you to set your data quality warnings. So you could have, say, scripts running or apps running in certain intervals and check on whatever those conditions are, and then set your quality warnings appropriately, or remove them if that's what needs to be done.
Okay, so that warning generation has to be done outside of Tableau.
Correct.
Using the
It's
API and
done
then
through
putting
API.
that in.
Yes, server doesn't allow you to schedule those checks from this UI yet.
Got it.
I say yet, but that's my yet. I don't know if
that's what I thought. I mean, that's the next step, I believe. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for your question. All right, very good. So so then I just have a couple more things that I wanted to show you. For example, downstream from this data source, I can see the workbooks, sheets, and dashboards that are depending on this data source, which again is very convenient because if there's going to be a change or if there's something affecting the quality of this data, I want to make sure that I understand the consequences as a data source owner. And actually, I can even communicate directly with the owner. So anybody who has created a workbook, who owns a workbook, a sheet, or dashboard is going to be on this list. In this case, obviously, it's just me for the example, and I can use this option to send email and inform the owners of whatever your data source may not be available during the weekend or whatever type of communication I need to have. So that's very convenient. The other thing that I want to show you is that if I open on workbooks, I open this one workbook for just for that warning, my renewal is coming, and I open the workbook. I'm sorry, I meant to open the dashboard, sorry. I open that dashboard. The first thing that happens when I open the dashboard, notice this information here where it's telling me that the data has some quality warnings. And I have a convenient option here to open those details. And without losing track of my dashboard, I can see as a user now, a user that's consuming this dashboard, what kind of data quality warnings are set on this dashboard. I also see the data source and I can see whether it's certified or not. And I even see the fields that are in use. And remember that field A field that I added some description, I can get more information from the data source owner as far as what this field is about or any pertinent information that they deem I need to know as a consumer of this data. So that's my quick review of data management. It's our way to provide self-service governance on the data. And as hopefully now you can see my point originally when I talked about the other tools, where you can have tools to do governance on your data at the enterprise level, but then inside the Tableau environment, you have a very powerful tool to provide customers with the information about the data that can generate the trust they need when they're working with it. So with that, I'm gonna set it back and hope everybody found that information useful. Thanks for your attention.
Yes, thank you for that overview.
Thanks.
Any questions from anyone? And we could always ask questions at the end as well, or send Adiascar a note. But yeah, thanks for a lot of pieces to data management. And I think for those that remember, our first talk was, what was it? I forget the exact title, but it was about data prep, and which is related to data management. And it was the 99% hard work that leads to the 1% of inspired insights, which is a sort of
that was the title. For
right,
data
something
prep.
like that. Was it Einstein or Thomas Edison who said, 99% perspiration, 1% inspiration? So you want to get to the inspiration and the fun stuff that's in the Tableau visuals, but you can't do that until you have good data. And the other euphemism for that is, junk in, junk out. If you don't lay the groundwork. Tableau's great as an exploratory tool. You can smash some stuff together quickly, but for the long term, you really need to invest the time into, something like prep, data management, or the other tools that are available. And I'm glad Tableau is giving this the attention it deserved, more so than in version 5 when it was just a little teeny dialog box. That was the extent of loading, and then it just kept growing and growing, and now we have these standalone products, which is really great to be able to do things the Tableau way with our data in a unique ecosystem. I believe Steve is up next from Charter. Right, yep. So we'll have to load Steve's slides and have him take it away.
Sure, I'll start sharing my screen, and Steve, you can take it away.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Excellent. Well, Adiascar, thank you. You touched on several points that we struggle with. So, and it's never an easy solution. It's a lot easier to talk about here than implementing it with 50 stakeholders that all have an opinion and all want to do it their way. So, yeah, but it's good to get that grounding. So hello, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to join your group in this meeting today. So my name is Steve DeMann, and I manage an incentive compensation department at Charter Communications. And actually on this call too, I have 2 members of my team that are on as well, Ernie Diodario and Helly. You see, she doesn't have her last name typed in here, but so Helly's on the team. So Ernie is our data guru. So he knows database design extremely well. And Helly recently joined our team, focused exclusively on Tableau, but she's very strong on SQL and the blending of Tableau, or I guess the linking of Tableau with a database source. She's very strong there. So I think having those pieces in place is definitely important to thinking long-term of growing a Tableau or any type of reporting platform. So we partnered with Slalom about 2 years ago to build out a database, a SQL database that complemented our primary sales commissions database. So we had a kind of one of the main commission systems that companies purchase. The problem with that is it takes quite a bit of time to build things out, and it can be somewhat expensive. And the reporting, what I've found, the reporting out of a sales commissions tool is typically the weakest part of it. It can do amazing calculations, but the user doesn't necessarily see that. They see the final report, and if the final report looks, pretty antiquated or kind of slow, not very professional looking, then obviously the entire system is based upon that final report and how that looks and feels, and can the user get their data quickly. So when I was at Wolters Kluwer before Charter, we actually had a sales commission tool called Optimize, and we completely ditched the reporting functionality of it and used Tableau. So Tableau was the primary reporting tool for us for thousands and thousands of sales reps. We had a Tableau server. We had an IT team that helped us integrate and make sure the security and everything worked very well. And that was fantastic. So when we had the opportunity at Charter to build out our database, partnering with Slalom, and then incorporating a reporting mechanism such as Tableau, it was the perfect fit. Tableau obviously allows people you could watch a few videos and get up to speed pretty quickly on putting together some reports. But like Excel or any other tool, they'll work, but an experienced user or somebody looking at it will judge it if it's not professional looking, if it doesn't refresh quickly. So I know there are a lot of words on this slide here, but I can summarize it pretty quickly. We use Tableau currently for several needs, but the one issue or problem statement that I wanted to focus on for this talk is we have a team that focuses exclusively on generating analytics reports based upon the performance of the sales commission, the sales commission design and the payouts and the results. Those analytics or the reports associated with it consist of static PowerPoint files by business unit. We have about 17 business units. These would be about 100 deck or 100 slides deck per business unit with accompanying Excel files. So you can imagine it's a team of people whose sole job is to refresh these reports. It's a full-time job, and in the end, what does the user really get out of it? You're not going to flick around, say, let me refer to slide 2, and then if you go back to slide 98, you'll see something there, and then link that to slide 63. You can imagine that's just not a fun way to digest information and get your answers. So because Slalom was very familiar with building out the complementary database that housed all our data inputs, we engaged them to build out our Tableau dashboards. And Mohnish, if you could go to the next slide, please. We wanted our dashboards to look professional and also be engaging for users that are brand new to Tableau. And we didn't want them to be extremely intimidating, but we also wanted them to see the power of Tableau and being able to put a lot of information from various sources into one view that people can get their answers from. And this is, we're still fairly new in the rollout of this. These are in production, but if there's two things I've learned from rolling out Tableau initiatives in different companies, it's absolutely do the due diligence at the beginning to get your data right, because it's pay me now or pay me later. If you don't set that up right away, you will pay 100 times more over the course of your reports if you don't clean up that data right at the beginning. And Mohnish on this call was actually who we partnered with, and that was one of his primary roles. Is he focused on cleaning up our data, and it's still a work in progress, but it's light years better than it was, and it allowed for this type of report. The second thing is having some sort of advocacy or focus group that you can get to champion your reports when you roll them out. So I may think this is an amazing report and look at everything it can do, but if you don't have someone in the user group that can really be an advocate for it and have everybody hop on board who's their peer, it may never take off the way you would expect it to. People just are creatures of habit and might stick to their Excel files no matter what the limitations are. So those are two real points that I've learned in this process. By showing you the example of this report here, it's, I'm sure many of you have created some, but we wanted a look and feel, and by engaging, Slalom and Mohnish with this, what this allowed us to do, starting at the top, is each of these tabs up top where you see people, commissions, these are obviously individual dashboards that a user can go right to, and you get an answer from one, or maybe one of the dashboards asks or leads them to ask three more questions as opposed to an answer. Then they can go right to the other pieces of information very quickly without flicking around between pre-printed PowerPoint slides. You see the header, people, and then July data month in blue there. Right underneath that, we have all the filters. And these filters, within each of these, there are probably, let's say 8 to 10 drop-down selections within each of these filters. As you can imagine, these would, you couldn't, if I had to print out a slide for every possible combination, it would be 1,000 pages, if not more. So obviously the dynamic nature of Tableau allows us to drill in any direction and get the answer very, very quickly. And these are obvious, this dashboard is made up of many, many different sheets, but they're all automated and tied to our database that I think is one of the slickest features, and explaining that to users to say, you're doing it your way through PowerPoint files, it takes you 3 weeks to produce a monthly file. In this, we upload the data, we spend maybe a couple days validating, and it's done. The whole thing is done. So speed, accuracy, the ability to click around so quickly, it's pretty amazing. Mohnish, if you could go to the next slide pretty quick. Yep. And I'm sure you're all familiar with this. The only difference between this slide and the previous one is the tooltip. So we have almost every metric in this slide, at least along the primary ones, have a tooltip that shows you far more than even this one slide that already has a lot of information. So it does pack a lot. And these were designed based upon the requirements that we knew the business focuses on. So a lot of times they'll ask, what's the 6-month trend? So that's kind of what the tooltip would show, to give context to each of these numbers. So even though this slide is 1 month, a 1-month snapshot, in order to have context to any one of these single 1-month numbers, you kind of have to know how that relates to the trend. So that's how we use the tooltip quite a bit. And Mohnish, if you could please go to the next one. Yep. So I didn't include slides from every single one of the tabs up top, because then I would have had to have blacked out people's names and payouts and information. So I just kind of used the safer slides. But you'll notice on this slide, this is the percent to goal graph. And you'll see it's got the same professional kind of look and feel that the first one had. And that's really what we wanted, to have a, professionally looking and working and consistent and predictable report. We didn't want it to look like someone produced it on their laptop one evening. This needed to be, extremely professional looking. So one of the questions to ask yourself through building something like this is, if you have calculations, or you'll see it kind of in the middle of the chart here, percentage of goal monthly commissions paid, it's a percentile. So you could see we have raw numbers and percents, and you could see the green and the red arrows where it's up or down. One of the things one of the questions to ask in building these types of dashboards is, where do you want the calculations to occur? Should they occur in Tableau itself? Should it occur in the database, or whatever is feeding the data to Tableau? And there's some pros and cons to both. I think you have to think about the support end. What's the team supporting this moving forward? The last thing you'd want is to demonstrate this report to a sales leader or any leader in a company, and they say, great, I need this next week. And you have no team to, you have no team to support it or create it. So you really have to think ahead on where certain events are going to occur, specifically the calculations. And I know, the members of the team I mentioned earlier, Ernie and Helly, that are on the line, I know they're very familiar with the situations I'm speaking to, and can speak firsthand as to some of the challenges that can occur if you don't really do your due diligence up front. And I think through the engagement with Slalom, and it was about a 14-week engagement, I'm very, very pleased with the reports. But one thing I learned is the business we partnered with understated the magnitude of data repair. I say it kindly, data repair that is required. And the engagement probably took about a 60-40% between 60% data cleanup, 40% actually producing these reports in Tableau. So that's, can't understate that data cleanup enough. And, it goes pretty hand in hand to the presentation we just saw earlier. That's absolutely crucial to do. And that's, that was my biggest takeaway through this process. But I love what we've built. I think it's automated, and, would highly recommend it for any type of department or company that's looking to truly automate and give that professional look and feel and drive that. But you really need champions, and you need data cleanup. I can't stress those two things enough. So that's my presentation for tonight. Hopefully that you found some pearls in that presentation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Steve. It was a great overview. Even for the people who were part of that engagement, it was really a great overview of all the use cases that we had, and then how Tableau helped you solve some of those problem statements. So thanks for providing that great overview.
Yeah, and Steve, in particular, one of the nuggets that stood out for me was, saying you need a small pilot group or focus group, and have an advocate, someone who sees the value of what you're doing within your company, and then they can go tell others. Because there's an old status in customer service, customer experience. You have a bad customer, they tell 20 people, but you have a good customer, they tell about 11. So the more people you can get on your side as advocates, like you said, the better. And to the end, to your point about the data, I always tell my students, I happen to teach as an adjunct for NYU, and also my corporate training students, you don't realize how messy your data is till you analyze it. You don't realize how messy your analytics are till you visualize it. You don't realize how messy your visuals are till you start making them interactive and start adding multiple years, you have a quarter changeover, you have a month changeover, whatever the case may be, and you get an outlier that really stands out more. And everyone, of course, the messenger, blames Tableau, but really it could be the underlying data, it could be a data pipe in between, it could be the data management layer. There's so many different moving parts, so to have a process for it and to think through it in advance is what's key to the game. It seems like you've got a good start on that here. So thanks as well for that.
Absolutely.
Just out of curiosity, Steve, did you get requests from people saying, I want to print this out in a PDF and send it over?
It's funny you say that. That's still how one of the primary groups using this plans to use it for a little while. And it's really the leader of the group that's utilizing this. It's hard to get him to transition over. There's really no technical reason not to make that move. It's just
old habits.
Kind of stubbornness.
Old habits.
Exactly. But it's light years better than that. Trying to use that approach. It's just getting that comfort level, I think, with that.
Yep.
And sometimes the best way of getting rid of old static reporting is turning it off and seeing who complains.
Of course.
and then asking people for their use case. I mean, there are cases where we had a launch plan announced. There was always one person who ignored the 50 emails we sent, telling them, hey, we're going to have something new, join our webinar, join a lunch and learn, do something to learn more about how to use this. And then when they saw it, they said, oh, this is so much better than Excel or PDF or whatever the case may be, because it's really interactivity makes data personal to people.
Cool. I mean, that's where one of the things that we also kind of stay away from then in that case is because of these old habits, try to keep away from tooltip visualizations because those are gone. If someone prints them out.
Yeah, and PDFs. Yeah, people ask how they can print those. Yeah, that's tooltip. Vision tooltip is great, but then you get the odd person who might print it, and you realize, solving that use case is a tricky one.
Yep.
Right. So Adam, I think the next topic that we have is about the future events that we have in this area coming in maybe next month or two. Holly, would you like to talk about the future events that we have upcoming?
Sure. Hi. So basically there's the Tableau user group challenge that's going on until the end of this month. So those of you that want to participate in that, please click that link and participate. I believe the winners means that this next event or one of our upcoming Tableau user groups, I'm drawing a blank now on the guy's name, but someone from Tableau would be able to come and present. Oh, here, perfect.
Francois, I just thought you don't want to. You want Francois talking to you for sure. So.
Yes, Francois. So I don't know if anyone from Tableau here wants to chime in on kind of what this competition's about. But I think it's something that you guys all should look into. Anything to add from the Tableau side?
Well, I guess that would be me, but I'm not familiar with the details of the competition.
Okay. So my understanding is you take this learning quiz, share the link with your colleagues, and then it allows you to kind of do different learning exploration paths and stuff. And then the most people that participate in it would get Francois, who is the Tableau CPO, to come to one of our upcoming events. So
can we post that link in whatever follow-up email we might have, but also maybe just put it in the chat window while we have everyone, just in case they have a minute afterwards, the bit.ly link or the tiny URL.
Yes, we can drop a couple of these links in, because there's a couple of events that we can
we should also post it. Yeah, and LinkedIn too for those that don't get it. And yeah, so the more people from our group that take it, that follow that unique URL, and it only takes a few minutes to do it. Even if you're an experienced user of Tableau, it's just interesting to see the foundation that they've laid for the education bit, and it's for a good cause, namely getting the inside track by talking to Francois. So definitely please fill that one out and join the LinkedIn group too for other updates.
And then I'm gonna go to the next slide. So yeah, so Slalom actually has an upcoming event on February 10th that everyone's welcome to join. It's virtual. There's multiple time slots that are taking place on the 10th that you can select the best viewing for you in your schedule. But basically it is Dr. Brene Brown and her Dare to Lead sort of philosophy, and should be a really cool event. It's an hour-long session. And again, anyone's welcome to participate. I will drop the link as well into the chat after this. For anyone that wants to register and sign up, and friends and family, colleagues are also welcome to participate as well.
Thanks, Ollie. So with that, I think we have about 15 minutes left. So we have a quick quiz event that gives you all an opportunity to win Tableau swags. Kathy can take us through that. It will be like 10 Tableau related questions, and the top 3 winners of this quiz will be winning Tableau swag. So Kathy, do you want to share your screen and then take us through?
Let me share the screen. And you guys can participate in the game and win the New Year gift. You can just go to the link here and enter the game pin to enroll. And for the guest speakers, you are welcome to participate as well, since you didn't see any answers and questions before, so it's fair.
Yeah, I need more Tableau swag for sure.
We have one joining, new one. We have John Wilson. Let's wait for a couple of minutes here. And let us know if you have any issues joining the quiz here.
So we have 8 so far.
How many we have here?
Yep, 23 participants. So I'm hoping that around 20 might be able to participate in this quiz.
We're going to select top 3, and all 3 of them will have Tableau gift cards. Don't miss it out. Maybe let's wait for 1 more minute and then we'll get started.
So this is John. Can I just say how cool this is to see one of my past Data Viz students out there living the Tableau dream?
Yes.
And I know I've got another past student that's on the call.
I picked the disco music, by the way. Can you guys all hearing that in the lobby? No? Oh. If you join the game, you probably can hear it from the lobby.
So I think we have about 12 people who have joined. Kathy?
Okay, cool. So let's get started. Oh, someone joined last minute. Double H. Okay, so first quiz. What is the file extension used in Tableau that contains both data extract and dashboard? We have TwibX, TWB, Hyper, TDS. Both data extract and dashboard. And for each question, you will have 20 seconds to answer. The correct answer is TwibX. So almost everyone got correct. Cool. GS is the top. A dashboard action can be triggered by which of the following? Select, hold over, menu, or all the above. All the above. Now our first.
This is Steve. I was on that last question. I was trying to click on your screen versus the separate window. So I knew the answer, but it wasn't accepting my clicking.
I see. Yeah, you need to actually click on your device, and also
Separate screen.
more quicker that you select the answer, more points you will get. So answer it fast. Which of the following charts uses binned data? Pie chart, box plot, histogram, or bullet graphs? Perfect. Histogram. And let's see who. Still AW and JW and QD. Let's see. But the score is really close. Which of the following is not a Tableau product? Tableau Server, Tableau Reader, Tableau Online, or Tableau Designer? Not a Tableau product. Cool. Some people think it's Tableau Reader. Actually, it's a free observer to interact with the dashboard and filter. Now let's do AWJ.
It is discontinued, so they should get half credit.
See. True or false question. Average is a table calculation. Let's see here. Average is not a table calculation, although you may think it is, but actually the running total, like running average, would be a table calculation. Good lesson to learn. Oh, AW is on fire, has a track with 5 correct answers in a row. Next, still true or false. Sheets cannot be used within a story directly. So can we just use sheets in a story? So because we asked, sheets cannot be used within a story directly. Actually, the sheets can be used within a story directly. So the correct answer is false. KD is on fire now. Another true or false question. Sets can be created on measures. fast. So although you can, based on measure and dimension, you have some logic and you can create size based on that, but actually you categorize the data into different measures. You cannot be category in measures. You have to create it based on dimensions. That's why it's false. We still have A, W, K, D, and G, W on the top. So this is multiple choice question. When we want to use a bullet graph, displaying the profit growth for a year, analyzing the trend over time, or comparing the actual against the target sales. Or we're comparing the frequency distribution of continuous variables. Perfect. We have majority select the correct answer. We're going to compare the actual against the target. Now,
I would argue it could be the A option also. Comparing year over year could be done with a bullet, but
yeah, but the best would be compare the actual
target. Mm.
Next one. Which of the following chart requires the date fields? Like requires the date fields. Bar chart, line chart, pie chart, scatter plot. Yay, almost all correct answer here, line chart. Next time we may consider to give some partial credits on some choices. And which of the following join will always include all rows from both tables? Inner join, left join, right join, or full alter? This is our last question. Almost all got correct answers as well. Let's see who is the winner. JW, Professor John Wilson. KD. And the number one goes to AW. And we still have runner-up, Steve. Good job. So please send us an email and we will follow up with you for the gift card. I will stop sharing and give it back to you, Mohnish. Thank you for participating.
That was pretty neat. I've never used that before.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of demand in using Kahoot to conduct these kind of quizzes. It has been very popular. So I think we all are liking Kahoot, what it does for us. So yeah, congratulations to all the winners and also to the runner-ups, and thanks everyone for participating in the quiz. Adam, do you want to maybe just close it out? I think we're about time, 7:30 now.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun, and the quiz was definitely a nice addition. I think it would have livened things up even in person towards the end when people were kind of tired or heading towards the food table or having to go someplace. So thanks very much for putting that together, Kathy, and it was enjoyable. And that one question I debated, I did answer the right one, but I said, well, it could be the other one. I think I have done that once. And likewise, the scatter chart, I guess you don't have to have time, but pretty close call. It was about to cheat by opening up Tableau for that one. So yeah, thanks very much everyone for joining. You know, we're thinking about our next event, so please, feel free to send us a note on LinkedIn, on email, however. Let us know if you're interested in being a speaker. Let us know if you have suggestions for possible topics, and we'll kick it around and hopefully get a meeting on the books in the next month or so we can all plan ahead. And increasing participation. So let your friends or colleagues know. We had 55 register, and a little less than half than that joined. So if we can increase participation, that's always good for the area, good for networking. And like I said, if anyone happens to be looking for work, feel free to reach out. I have a bunch of recruiters that have posted roles in healthcare and finance, in publishing, and I don't even remember what the other one was. So lots of interesting roles out there for people who are interested in Tableau, interested in data. And I know if there happen to be any Power BI folks on the call as well, there's some people interested in that who also happen to use Tableau at different companies. I don't know if we had any closing slides other than, right, thank you very much, the links. So, there's the link to our, LinkedIn group, so you don't even have to type in the code, just tiny URL, Tableau FC LinkedIn, and then usergroups.tableau/Fairfield County for updates. And then you should be able to find us, all the speakers and all the people who put this event together, including myself on LinkedIn. But if you can't, I think you can just reply to the email, and that probably goes to Kathy directly. So that's all we had for now, but feel free to stick around if anyone has any Tableau questions or just wants to network generally or tell a joke, or maybe we can put together another fun Kahoot quiz. Keep us, posted. But thanks again for your time.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good night. Be well.
I do have a general question if anybody's run into this. We upgraded recently to 2020.3. And we work a lot with SAS. And one of the things we've noticed is that if you have a SAS file that's in excess of about the high 20s to maybe 30 gigs, the system crashes. We've had Tableau support working on this since October. If we convert that SAS file to a text, it's fine. We've done it on 4 or 5 different machines. When we backed up a machine to 2019.4, it worked fine. It's strictly the 2020 upgrade. Has anybody seen anything like that? And if so, other than going over to text files as output, how did you resolve it? And 30 gigs seems to be the cutoff. If I have a SAS file that's about 20 gigs, it seems to be fine. It seems to be a system resource issue.
I think that's a pretty rare issue there, and I'm glad you already have a ticket open with Tableau support. I don't know. How many SAS users are on the line? How many people have ever used SAS on the line? I have, so I do know what you're talking about. I haven't used it in a few years.
We use SAS a lot with our large survey data sets.
Yep. Yeah, no, makes sense. And SAS is the industry gold standard, the grandfather of software. It's been around so long. Everyone on this call, and all your parents and possibly grandparents, everyone's data is in it because it's the credit card companies, the government has the data in it, healthcare firms. Literally, it's the gold standard. But I think, if no one else has weighed in, probably you've followed the right path by going to support. And then, have you opened a case? Sorry, opened a community. Not a case. I meant a community post as well.
We've seen several. We found several different threads of others describing the same issue.
Okay.
And again, it's not a SAS extension in and of itself. The file size has to be large. It's about, like I said, it's about 30 gigs seems to be the cutoff. Talking about 100 million records across, I don't know, 40 or 50 attributes.
And have you gone to level 2 or level 3 yet with Tableau support, did you say?
I don't know. It's been back and forth. I've been included on several emails, but we have someone in our software development area that's sort of leads up any Tableau server issues. I've been threaded in on multiple ones, but it sort of comes and goes depending on what I'm teaching. And this is for the company I consult with, not for UConn.
So yeah, I mean, that would be my suggestion is if you're not, yet at the next level, usually
they have their engineers looking at it. They've tried to build mock simulations. So I'm guessing that's where we're, and again, this has been going for about 3 months now. So, and it's gone, I've seen multiple people at Tableau get involved. I was just curious if anybody else has come across that. And the last I looked at the blogs, although that was right before the holidays, I saw more instances of other, again, health institutions, insurance companies, people dealing with, hundreds of millions of records. That seems to be an issue, and it seems to be endemic in the 2020 release. We've worked with Tableau with the exact same files for years, and when we went to do a refresh, it crashed multiple systems.
What about the 2021 release? Did somehow they fix it?
We bounced right to 20. We went from 19.4 to 2020.3.
Yeah, well, I wonder if 2020.4 somehow they resolved it? Because that
2020.4 has not resolved. We've tested some machines with the more. What did that come out about a month ago?
Yeah. Was it
Yeah. Same deal.
They resolve stuff, but they don't shout about it, especially things like that. So I, just to, put a feather in Tableau's cap here, I had a Salesforce ticket, and they followed up a bunch. The client I was working with, not lost interest, but it lost urgency with them. So Tableau was responsive in it, and they escalated to tier 2 and maybe even tier 3 at one point, and they did resolve it. It took a little while, and it turned out to be something with the Salesforce connector that was a quirk about the way it worked. But they do follow up on these things. That's why I checked about tier 2 or tier 3. But you could always reach out. I mean, at Adiascar, or if he can help you.
Yeah,
or
I just wanted to add, as from the technical point of view, if support's been looking at it, then I won't even dare to dabble on that. I'm sure they've looked at more information that we have here in this call. But the one thing that I would like to suggest is that if you haven't escalated or requested to escalate the support ticket, then do, because 2 or 3 months is quite a bit of time. Thankfully, you have a workaround, but if you can, or the person that's dealing with Tableau support can ask their account manager, the Tableau account manager, that to escalate that ticket is probably time, especially since you're seeing other people with the same problem.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the last email. I know our account manager was brought in early on, and we have one of the guys has a contact on the engineering side that we deal with a lot, but they basically, it looks like they're saying your system, since it keeps, we sent multiple error logs over, they keep saying that it's a system resource issue, so upgrade our system resources, and trust me, it's not that. It certainly isn't that.
Right, it sounds like the only factor to change was the version of Tableau, so
yeah,
it's logical to think that it's not a resource.
Have you tried on Mac or PC?
But I don't know about Mac, but definitely on PC.
Right.
My environment in my
Right.
home office is a PC. We've tried it on multiple laptops, multiple configurations, multiple operating systems. And again, it seems to be about 30 gigs. And by the way, it's not just a specific file. We've mocked up other files and ran them to like 25 gigs, and then mocked up data that ran it up to 35 gigs. And those files, same deal, 25s, it opens eventually. Takes a while. It takes about 40 minutes to connect, but you get up around 35 gigs and it crashes. And there is a comment in Tableau's release that it no longer supports a particular, what do they call it? A compression scheme. But there's no guidance on how to change that compression scheme. And again, we've been SaaS for, I can't tell you how many years, and it would really flip our many of our existing Tableau dashes. We do all of our out reporting in Tableau. It would, many of those are scheduled to refresh monthly or quarterly, and it would cause us to have to basically re-engineer all of those. I'm talking hundreds.
When you say compression, do you mean on the SAS file side or on the Tableau extract side?
The Tableau notes, the release notes for 2020.3 mention the compression that the SAS is using, and that you have to change it from one compression routine, something .7 or something like that, to some other compression routine. But we can't find any documentation on how you would do that. And again, it's we have researchers that have been working with SAS for 20 and 25 years. We tend to have a lot of longevity at that company. And they've basically, it's the proverbial, I've outputted it the way I've outputted it for the last 25 years, and for the last 10 or 12 or so, we've been a Tableau shop with no issues in those SAS files. So
yeah, interesting, fun question.
Oh, fun. Yeah, fun. Yeah, that was one word for it.
Wow. I mean,
since it was my build.
It's an unusual one, but yeah, I mean, so I'm glad that was my next thing is, what does SAS have to say about it? And they must have documentation about how to change the compression if it's on that side. And I wondered if upgrading to Hyper, redoing the extract. I mean, there's also
we can't. That was the whole point. We were trying to get to an extract. We couldn't even get it to it was a extract refresh. That was actually, that's what caused it the first time. They completely changed out my system that I remoted into.
Right.
And then again, we've tried it in multiple systems, multiple environments.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say Linux or running it direct from Tableau server.
So,
Good.
all right.
Good thing to stump everybody. But yeah, Tableau. Oh, the escalation ticket. You said you sent logs. There's some sort of a deeper log or recording they can do, not performance recording, but there was some other deeper debug mode or something.
Yeah, they've done multiple ones with my IT. I've sent my logs. They've sent their logs. We've sent multiple logs from the various different machines.
Right.
That was the other thing. It would be different errors each time. Sometimes it would say system resource. Sometimes it would say something else. We would basically reboot a system, and then we could get then it would give you one of those fancy little 12-digit alphanumeric codes.
Yeah.
You name it, we saw it. So. Excuse me, it still hasn't been resolved. But anyway,
Well,
if any of you stumble across something, it
yeah,
seems like I've got
know.
some Slalom consultants here, so that might be something that you stumble across. I'd appreciate a heads up. Kathy knows how to get a hold of me. She knows.
Sure.
She knows.
Yeah, we haven't seen the exact problem that you just mentioned, but definitely we can look into it and then see if we know of any other clients who have maybe experienced the same issue, and then we'll get back to you via Kathy, of course.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And,
Sure.
and on the flip side, if they solve your issue, maybe you could just let us know as well, John.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Good to meet you. Anyone else have any other questions or fun stump scenarios? Call that a tree stump.
It was a good meeting. Great meeting. Thank you everyone for coming. Great meeting.
Thanks, guys.